this edition of the At Home Comic Con panel. I'm your host for today, your master of ceremonies, so to speak, Sal from Comic Pop. And I'm joined today by the incredible, the indomitable Cape Joel and our semi regular guest, Jason, one of our most requested guests of all time, Jason Inman. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Always a blast. I'm sorry that I did not come redesign myself. I'm just in a normal sweater.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that, we'll leave the redesigns to the superheroes because today's topic is the best superhero redesigns in comics. But before we do that, I want to mention that this show is live, number one. Number two, if you are watching live via our channel or via the At Home Comic Con channel, you may want to take a look at the pinned comment in which we give you a link where you can donate, because we're donating all the proceeds from these panels to some incredible causes. So check those out and definitely keep an eye on that. And don't use the super chats for us if you're in our chat. Just donate to there, because if you have already donated, you are entered into a random selection where at the end of this panel specifically, you could win a $30 Comixology gift card. And that's some gold right there, because Comixology has a ton of deals, and it's if you haven't already started using Comixology, where have you been, man? Because Comixology is the #1 digital comic book distributor out there. You got to check it out. Also, I wanted to mention at the top of the hour that At Home Comic Con has reached $5,000 in donations so far. So it's incredible. It's the first show that this has ever it's ever existed. We're halfway to the $10,000 goal. So thank you all for your donations. Thank you all for your impending donations, and we will see you guys when we come around again. So let's do it, gentlemen. I'm sure we have our own list in our heads of the best costumes and redesigns out there. My question is, so I want to talk about some of your favorites, like some of your personals, not necessarily the bests, but like just the ones that you like the best.
Right.
Some of your favorite redesigns that came about in comics. What do you got?
You know, when I think about costume designs, like redesigns, some of the ones that pop into my head very easily, and even though they're so 90s they hurt, I don't care, is some of the Jim Lee redesigns for the 90s X-Men.
Oh, yes.
Because to me, that is like the iconic Cyclops uniform with the yellow strap and all the belts and everything like that. Totally. And then that was the first time that we brought Wolverine back to yellow and blue.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just did a whole line of those figures, those designs as Marvel Legends, and
they'll live forever.
Yeah. They look amazing. They just look really good. And it's so funny because every time we push the X-Men away from those designs, we just come right back to them.
Oh, yeah. No, you have to, because they're so iconic. I remember as a kid being like so impressed and amazed by the yellow suits, even though they kind of like take away their individuality. Just kind of those characters. But I don't know. For my money, I like the cohesion of a team. I like to see them kind of like uniformed.
Right.
And those Jim Lee redesigns kind of like, it gives them each their individual. Well, okay, so there's the Jim Lee redesigns where it's like Cyclops and his, like, I don't know what you'd call that thing that he had.
Ultimate strap.
Yeah, the strap. But you've also got like the uniforms where it's like the yellow and blue suits. I love those yellow and blue suits. I don't know why, but also
they just pop.
But I'll be damned if you can find a better suit for Rogue than the Jim Lee 90s jacket Rogue.
Fair.
That's a good jacket.
For me, that's Rogue. That's Rogue to a T. But anyway, yeah.
Joel, who stands out for you, buddy?
Yeah, who's your favorite?
Well, speaking of X-Men, while we're on this line of thinking here, a redesign that I think a lot of people don't even think of as a redesign anymore because it's just how the character has lived for so long. Beast making the huge jump from a big-footed, just regular-looking guy to the big blue furry beast that we've had forever.
Nice. Beast was definitely on my list, and it's funny because, like, I feel like they should have stopped drilling pretty much at the first redesign.
Yeah, because it's almost perfect.
Because literally it was like, Beast, he's big. Like, that was their thing. He's a white guy who has big feet. And then they were like, how about we make him look like this? It's not even like Cat Beast. Okay, make him look like a cat man. Ape Beast, make him look like an ape. But like, whatever the hell he is when they redesigned him the first time, where he's just what do you
Blue
call
Wolverine. That's
right,
what he is.
Yeah.
He's
right?
Blue
But he's got
Wolverine.
like he still has animalistic features. Like he doesn't
Yeah.
look like quite like a man, but it's just, for some reason I don't know. They nailed it right out of the gate. Just like first time, boom, we got it. The only thing they did to improve it, make it a little better, make him more blue, just a little bit bluer.
Yeah.
He had that kind of Hulk situation where he started out kind of gray, and then you move it, make it much more primary, make it way bluer.
I do have a fondness though for Cat Snout Lion Beast from Grant Morrison though. I do.
New
and
X-Men Beast, yes.
Yeah, and I'm kind of sad that when they took that new X-Men Beast and then I don't know what you call it in Marvel now with the Bendis run, they made him sort of Gorilla Beast.
I
call him Ape
where he
Beast,
sort of
yeah.
balls.
Like a second
Yeah.
mutation.
Yeah. I hate that, and I think that everyone else hates it too. And I think that's why it's gone.
Is it gone?
I think it's gone. I'm every time I think about the,
I kind of split the difference visually without
Yeah.
much of a story reason as to why.
it's kind of like Noseless Wolverine, where they were like, we're thinking no nose, and then every artist was like, I'm thinking I'm just gonna draw a nose anyway.
Yeah.
Or they went off, or it was actually that there was never a no nose, and one artist was like, I'm thinking no nose, and everyone else is like, I don't know what memo you got, but you're wrong.
I just want to know which Wolverine artist at the time, when they were coming up with Do-Rag Wolverine, as I call him,
Yes.
was like, you know what? You know the thing I hate drawing the most? Noses.
Right. And we know it wasn't Liefeld because it wasn't the feet, it was the nose. But yeah. Man, Do-Rag Wolverine was just a series of bad decisions. It was like just just constantly dropping a new thing. Okay, it's same old Wolverine, but bone claws. Wait, how about this? He starts to morph. We'll make him more like Beast, make him kind of animalistic, bigger, exaggerated features. How about no nose? How about he wears a friggin' do-rag?
Didn't he also have like furry forearms, or am I just thinking
Yes.
of the action figure with the furry forearms?
I mean, the action figure was a perfect example of what you saw in the comics, probably on like a 1 month period. They were like,
This is a weird tangent of that because they did make an action figure of that terrible do-rag Wolverine.
I'm pretty sure I had it growing up. That's why I remember.
Oh,
it
did
so
you? Oh my
vividly.
God. One time, this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's a good story. I once interviewed Scott Lobdell at the beginning of the New 52. And I remember talking to him because I was like, I have to ask you about the 90s X-Men and Onslaught and Age of Apocalypse, all these great runs that you were a part of. And I started asking him about like certain characters. I was like, where did Maggot come from? Where did is it Groot and Romet or Sprout? The girl with the dinosaur, you know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about, but I can't name them for the life
Anyways,
of
I don't
me.
even want to bother spending the time looking this character up. But anyways, I asked him like, where do these weird characters come from? And he told me that at the time, Toy Biz was so hungry for like new X-Men characters to make action figures of that it became a bet between him and Joe Madeira of which one of them could come up with the craziest character that the action figures would still make, or the action figure company would still make a toy of. And I think it's Groot and Romet. They were like, that was the one that won the bet.
Amazing.
Because Maggot, he told me that Maggot is one of those characters that they just made up to see, will they make an action figure of this? And then they did.
Oh, that makes me sick. I will tell you though, it was working. I think for me, it was, what was his name? Was it Tusk? Where he had like a big, weird, mossy back, and there was a little guy that came out of the back.
Oh my God, I don't even know that character.
Well, I remember being a kid and being like, whoa, look, like they made X-Force figures and they changed the packaging on it. X-Factor figures. I got Strong Guy. I'm in.
Can I take us a little bit out of the X-Men universe for a while?
We
I
could
want
be
to talk
here all
about,
day.
we could. Speaking of costume redesigns, I want to go to Spiderman, or Spider-Man, as I say, especially as I look at Sal's great. It looks like Spider-Man and Mary Jane over your right shoulder.
Yeah, it's actually a custom art piece of me as Spider-Man and my wife Tiffany as Doctor Strange.
Aww. Oh, okay, that's the cape. It looks great. I love it. It keeps drawing my eye.
Yeah, thank you.
So with Spider-Man, let's talk about. To me, there's Spider-Man has a lot of costume redesigns, and Spider-Man also has a lot of great redesigns.
Some big and some minor.
Yeah.
The black suit. That's the easiest one to talk about.
For me, the black suit is the best one because it's the biggest departure from the original source while also remaining and preserving the iconic nature of Spider-Man's look. You have this thing where like it uses simple colors. I mean, literally, like every superhero for a while was just like, just use the American flag and then just you make a derivative out of it. Spider-Man, no exception, red and blue. But when they decided to go to the black suit, they still managed to preserve, like, you could still do things like, you know how I mean, it's very much, it was after the black suit, but like when you look at like McFarlane Spider-Man art,
Mhm.
McFarlane took every opportunity to shove them in a shadow
Oh
and
yeah.
only highlight like the eyes or some
Yeah.
element of the red. And then, but with the black suit, you could still keep doing that, and to a greater effect because he morphed into the shadows, because you could play with shadow and coloring in your books.
It
But yeah, there's a ton of great redesigns for Spider-Man. For my money, the number one, like, it's like, from, because for me, like, people talk about the Ditko suit, right? And they're
Right.
like, the Ditko suit's my favorite. It's like, it's just the same thing, but it's drawn by Ditko.
It's just artist style of how they draw Spider-Man.
Yeah, like, yeah, that means you just like Ditko over Ramita. Like,
Yeah.
for me, that's it. Because it's the same exact suit. It's just the eyes are a little different and it's drawn by a different person.
I want to pause you right here. Okay, I want all three of us right now.
Yes.
Who draws the best version of the regular Spider-Man suit?
Oh, that's hard.
Mark Bagley.
That's
It's a
pretty
good
good.
choice. Joel, who do you think, man?
Yeah, I might have to say Bagley too on that one. Nothing else is really jumping to my mind. There's just so many, and I'm gonna feel stupid later.
Yeah.
For me, it's John Romita Jr.
Nice.
Mm.
I love
Yeah.
John Romita Jr. Spider-Man.
Bagley is
totally,
amazing, but John Romita Jr. something about the way he draws that original suit that just really pops for me. All right,
I agree.
All right, so we have all these other alternate Spidey costumes.
Yes.
Scarlet Spider.
See, what's funny is I
He's
grew
got a
up.
hoodie.
I think most of us grew up under the Wizard rule, where if you picked
Yeah.
up a Wizard magazine during that time, there was always a list that said, "Oh, and don't forget the Scarlet Spider suit is the worst thing ever." And so I grew up kind of conditioned to believe it sucks, but like deep in my mind, and because I had a friend who was reading comics with me at the time, he loved the Scarlet Spider suit. And I'm like, he's wearing a torn regular clothes and like a proto Spider-Man costume underneath. And why does he have ankle pouches?
I love it as a variant. I think I've come to really appreciate that suit as part of the many video games where that's an unlockable, where it's like, oh, I gotta get the Scarlet Spider suit and toy around with that for a bit.
Yes.
I'm one of those people. I love the Scarlet Spider suit, and I cannot explain it. Whereas at the same time, I'm one of those fans. I totally admit the ankle pouches are stupid,
They
but
gotta go.
they're so stupid, and it's dumb. And but you know what? At least I can recognize that I know it's dumb, but I
Right.
still love it. It's the same way that I love the Highlander TV show. I know
Yes.
it's dumb, but I love it.
Oh, good pull. Good pull.
So much
Yes.
good lore.
No, there's no good lore.
You know,
Highlander show is no good lore.
No, it's funny. I think the reason why the Scarlet Spider suit draws my eye is because it's a color inversion.
Yes.
You know, because the primary color is red instead of blue.
Yeah. No,
Right.
I remember particularly when it was the Bagley era of Spider-Man,
Mhm.
when he would draw Spider-Man from far away, like if he had him in the background or he did like a wide shot, he
Mhm.
often just threw away the web design and kind of went for an implied Spider-Man and did a solid red color for his suit.
Mhm.
And I always loved seeing that. For some reason, it was so great to see. And so part of my affinity for that Scarlet Spider suit after I broke myself from the Wizard conditioning
Mhm.
was the fact that it did drop the webs. And while I would not live without the webs, I like seeing it without it. And I think that the Scarlet Spider scratches that particular itch for me.
Mhm.
I love that pull. There are so many. How do you feel about Riley's "I'm officially Spider-Man" suit, though?
I like it, to be honest with you. It's a little over designed, but there is something, and it's something that the MCU has stolen. I like the idea that it has the big legs across the shoulders.
Yeah, I didn't even
And I
consider
do think what it does with the gloves is a little dopey, and the half boots is a little dopey. But I
Yeah.
really like making the spider symbol huge, because Ditko always classically drew it as so small. What do you guys feel about it?
I like Little Spider. For me, my favorite chest spider is the
Mhm.
McFarlane one.
Oh yeah.
He did this really interesting thing where it's like just these two little ovals that went right on top of each other, and then the legs had their own little ovals on the ends of them. I don't know.
Mhm.
It works on a design level for me in a
Mhm.
way that the other ones kind of just go, eh. Like the Ditko one for me feels like. No, not the Ditko one. The Ramita one is that has like a lower abdomen and the legs all come out of the top.
Yeah.
There's we could go. There's a whole show where we just talk about spider design.
Let's just change the show right now. We're going to specifically talk about Spider-Man
redesign for
emblem
chest to
right
chest
now.
I mean, if we're talking about the logos, not to backtrack too much, but I mean, I think one of the strengths of the black costume so much is that you basically only have the logo and the strength of the logo, and because the spider is so strong, that when it's just there in white outline, it's like, all right, I see what you're
totally
doing.
right. Yeah, the white logo works so well. It's part of the reason why it kills me, and I know why they did it, but why there's no black costume in the Sony video game. It's because they're like clearly saving it for all the variants that Venom and symbiote suits they're going to do in the second game.
Right, of course.
But like
some of those slight spoilers that have apparently leaked from that sequel to that appears like Venom is going to be the villain.
Yay!
Of the second one. So
good, I'm in. By the way, just as here's a suit I hated, but I always go back to it when I'm playing that game. The Quesada pushed Iron Spider suit.
Oh yeah, it looks really good in the game, doesn't it?
It looks really good in the game, and I kind of really like it now. Like after the fact, that the image that they always have of him in the Iron Spider suit over over the Captain America shield, it's so good, it's so iconic, it really works. I'm just like, who'd have thought? That's actually kind of dope.
I mean, if we're going to talk about armored variants, we have to talk about the silver and black armored variant from the 90s.
No, we don't.
So 90s, it hurts.
Yeah, it is. Is it ever?
That issue is worth a dime.
If you grab that issue, he's in that suit for 2 pages.
Sure is.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that growing up watching the cartoon, because the cartoon gave so much
backstory to that character.
To that character gave it so much time, and then when you actually do pick it up in the comics, you're like, hey, this is nothing like that.
It's funny. 2 armored suits that pop into my head, specifically Spider-Man. One, Sal, it goes to your point. One of the suits that looks great in the game that I did not like in comic art is the it's the Spider-Man as the executive with the green eyes. It's not the big time suit, but it
was in big time. It's his stealth suit or something.
Yeah, but no, it's where he it's sort of the Marvel now. It's towards the end where it's the regular Spider-Man costume, but it's sort of armored.
Yes, I hated it in the comics. I love playing it in the game.
Looks good in the game. All the armored suits look good in the game.
I think that's it. I think it's really just anything with a metal texture just pops in that game. And I think the reason why is because it is so close to the comic book version, but it has that metal texture, so it works so well.
Another one I want to point out to you guys, and I love this design, is the Superior Spider-Man suit.
Oh yeah, very
like it too.
Changes. Minor
the second
changes.
One. I was going to go for the second one where he sort of gets the Venom top, and then it's all black at the bottom.
Yeah.
Now I assume you know this, but I'll say it for the benefit of our audience. That is actually an Alex Ross design that was a pitch for the movie version of Spider-Man all the movie Spider-Man.
Oh wow, I did not.
That was an original Alex Ross going like, here's what his suit could look like in the movie, and they were like, no. I remember seeing that suit in Wizards forever, and then when Superior came out and he went with that version, I'm like, ho, Dan Slott's a fan. He knows what's up.
Yeah, and you should also Google Alex Ross did some designs for the X-Men.
They're so
movie.
good.
They look so good. They're basically black as the solid color, and then their chest pieces form an X. But it's a very subtle X. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and the X's are in the color of that you're used to for those characters.
Yeah.
So like Wolverine has kind of like an orangey yellow. It's really cool.
They're really good. Yeah.
Those are like designs that never happened, which is another show. We're doing three different shows in this.
Oh yeah. Well, let's give Alex Ross another touch. If you buy his book, I think it's called Marvelology. It's the Alex Ross book. It's great. In there, he has a pitch for the Fantastic Four, and his Fantastic Four costume designs are just out of this world stunning.
I've never seen it. I have to see that.
I'm going to try to Google that, and so I can share the screen so we can get that.
The other, I will actually transition into Alex Ross, but to a different thing, so we can actually talk about more redesigns. For my money, one of the best Superman redesigns, bar none. For me, it goes the suit, like the John Byrne Man of Steel,
Classic.
Underwear, belt with nothing on it except an oval. Boots, the little design in the boots to make a little kind of like W at the top of them, all that.
Logo on the back.
Yeah, logo on the back of the cape, yellow. That suit, and then it goes Kingdom Come. That Kingdom Come suit is
real
fire.
Before we go full Kingdom Come, I found them. I'm going to share
good.
the screen right here.
Excellent.
Hold on a second. I'm doing a big build up for this. There it is.
Oh,
so look at this. It sort of like he makes Reed and Sue sort of have like a jacket, but it's a uniform.
Yeah.
And I love the way that it sort of points out the four without like being obvious about it.
Yeah, I really like that.
But that was for a pitch that Marvel said no to.
You know, and they said yes to that awful red suit that they all wore for like a few seconds.
Oh yeah. But let's go back to Superman. Like, the greatest thing about the Kingdom Come suit, I think, is just what it does to the S.
Yes.
And I kind of think that Alex Ross is the one that opened up the window for having fun with changing the S that we see later in Man of Steel, that we saw in New 52, that we, because before then everybody like always drew it with the standard, like here's the rounded tip and here's the square beginning, and
Yes, as a kid when I used to draw, like that was the S was a drawing. It was not just writing an S. Like you knew exactly where the little triangles went to just to distinguish the difference between the bar and the top part of the S. Yeah. That S was it's a graphic. They just slapped it on every image that he was in. Like it was like,
and if you drew it different, you were wrong.
You screwed it up. Like even if you were trying to homage the like old S, where it was just a triangle with an S in it, and there was like there were weird tangents against the lines. Like even if you were doing an homage, you were still wrong. No, I mean, yeah, that S was untouchable until Alex Ross did it, and everyone went, "I love it!" Like to the point where that is for some people their version of Superman.
Right.
And by the way, Jason, did you ever think you would live in a world where you'd see that on film?
No, I think, to be honest with you, that is like one of the best parts of Crisis on Infinite Earths is the fact that we got to see basically Kingdom Come Superman in live action. That was something I was like, we will never see that happen.
Right. No, I was like, we'll see that maybe in a crappy animated movie, but not on, for me, my favorite live action Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
It just gives me hope that we'll see Superman Blue one day.
Now, we gotta talk about Superman Blue just really quick.
Yes, we do.
Because I think
for the next hour.
I think maybe for the next hour. I think there's something really iconic about it that like everything about it, the issue in which it first appears, the story about it is terrible. But the only thing they got right was that this suit is like kind of streamlined and awesome looking.
And they'll still reference it every so often.
Well, you guys noticed the last reference, my favorite reference, was just in the Dark Multiverse. One of Superman's dark versions is that he's blue because he sucks. Like,
yeah. I mean, they've also done it a couple of times in the last 10 years where if Superman's powers have like increased, he gets electricity powers. That's happened. It happened in All-Star Superman.
Yes.
When he's near the sun. And then there's another one somewhere in the New 52. It happened too. Like he started like turning electricity.
That's funny.
I'll tell you what, I have doubts about whether I'll ever have the chance to write Superman in any kind of way, in any kind of shape or form. But I tell you, I mark this right now, and I'm putting this in line in the sand. If I ever get the chance to work on any kind of Superman, I will reference Superman Blue or figure out a way to bring Superman Blue back. I agree with you, Joel, and Sal. Like there's something about that look. There's something about the design of it, and I don't know what it is because it also at the same time should work. It doesn't work for Superman.
No,
like, that's not Superman. But there's something about that design. Have you guys ever heard the story about where that design came from?
No,
not that design. I just assumed it came from desperate greed.
Well, it was so basically. So I remember reading this in our favorite Wizard magazine. When they came up with the idea that they wanted to change Superman's powers and they wanted to like do this whole relaunch. Apparently, they offered it up to every artist working at DC, and they were just like, "Give us a redesign. We'll pick the best one or the one we like the most." That is Stuart Immoner's design.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
he is fire. That works out great.
Yeah.
It's funny because like that's something that you don't really think about, and I wish they did it more. I wonder if they do. Where it's like your DC Comics, you have access to some of the best artists in the industry, literally just like almost like as a team building exercise. Go like, hey, redesign Batman, redesign Wonder Woman, no holds barred, just do your best, and then just keep them, and you put them in a file folder, and you mark them like best, second best, third best, and just hang on to them until you need them again.
They did that with when they redesigned Batman and Robin's costumes, and this is a perfect way to transition for Batman Reborn when Dick Grayson took over.
Yes.
They opened it up to every DC artist. Damian's original Robin costume is a Frank Quitely. And Dick Grayson's Batman costume, I believe, was an Adam Kubert.
Oh, okay.
Good suit.
Yeah. And that's a great artist. Those two great artists. I do like the Damian redesign. I think it works really well for him. But for my money, like, okay, we talked about this in another show a week or two ago, where I was like, I love the Dick Grayson Booties Robin suit. I think there's something beautifully iconic about it, even though it doesn't say anything. It doesn't say Batman to me. It doesn't say superhero to me. It says like fairy elf to me.
Yeah.
Or Robin Hood meets elf, like Renaissance fair cosplayer. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's because it's been around forever. Maybe it's just because, like, chicken or the egg kind of situation, where it's like it's iconic because it's Robin. But for me, I love it, and I also love that, like, it's preserved in the cave, and it's like, I love that the last one to wear it is Jason Todd. I mean, Tim Drake wears it, but then when Tim Drake finally truly becomes Robin, he gets a new suit, which for my money,
of the idea that, like, his death retired that suit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that, like, the suit is in the cave as like another trophy or as a monument, not just because it, like, a child died in it, but also because, like, that was Robin. But we're moving forward from that. Like, no one will ever look like that again. And nothing could be more definitive about that than when they debuted I think Neil Adams designed the Tim Drake Robin suit, Robin 3.
I think you're right, because you can find a whole bunch of the weird designs, because some of the weird designs are they tried to give him sort of like an 80s cool leather jacket. And you're like, no.
Superboy, he is not.
Yeah. But that Tim Drake suit, it's actually funny. Not only does it just literally give Robin long pants, the end. Like, I mean, literally just like, well, what if we just give him pants?
It's the one with more red, right? I'm thinking of the right one.
We're thinking of the Tim Drake first draft, where it's like the black cape on the outside, but the yellow on the inside, which actually really worked. Nobody made it look more amazing than Norm Brayfogle when he had his shot to draw Tim Drake's Robin. I know, I love it because whenever Brayfogle drew it, he's like, Robin's 25, right? Like, because Tim Drake by Brayfogle just looks like an adult man, and it works really well, but only when Brayfogle draws it. But my wife Tiffany suggested, and I think she's totally right, and it's on display in the Robin 80th anniversary book. The best thing to come out of the Tim Drake Robin suit was actually making Robin's logo a logo, was making the Robin logo a design. Like, that's Robin.
We just bought for our curbside from our local comic book shop, which I highly recommend everybody to do to save your comic book shop. We went curbside. We bought all the variants for that Robin 80th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And the logo, you can tell how iconic that R is, because the logo for just the standard one is that R.
That's right. That's right. It is so good. I remember drawing it as a child.
He used to throw them as ninja stars.
Yes, he did.
He could pull them out of his chest. He kept them there. One of the funniest moments was trying to explain that to my team on back issues, was just being like, hey, those are throwing stars. He takes those out. And they're like, what? Because it's sharp, Ethan, because it's sharp.
Yeah.
Calls them wingdings sometimes.
You have to think about, like, the reality of that situation, right? Because if that Robin suit is armor and he has the whole, like, he can just pull, you want to keep, like, what, maybe 10 of them in there?
I'm gonna say 3, so 10.
That R would be like out to here.
Yeah. Right? It may be
like a foot.
Yeah, Batman has a boom tube installed in his chest where it just goes to another layer where there's just a pile of them.
Yeah. I like it.
I want to give a quick shout out. I'm noticing in the chat right now, the donations for Hope for Home, which supports the United Way. Apparently we're past the halfway mark now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So everybody that's watching this live, they just put a link into the chat at the very top. Please go hit that up. I want to get us to 75%.
Yeah.
How much?
That'd be so great.
How much
if
about
you could-
Superman Blue do we got to talk about to get us? To that?
Well, what about Superman Red? It's the same thing, but red.
Speaking of Superman Red, remember Superwoman when they redid her again, but it was like the New 52 Lana Lang, and they made her an energy super person for a bit, then killed her.
Yeah. I kind of dug it.
Loved
Me
it.
too.
I loved it too. I loved
good
it too.
looking. I thought they gave up on that way too quickly.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
because they killed it because they did like Superman Reborn, and that's when they combined the New 52 and the old Superman history.
Yep.
And then as soon as that happened, there was no old Superman to give Lana her powers.
Right.
And
so they were like, "Oh, what do we do? Let's
Yeah.
just say it never happened." That and the Wonder Woman romance that never happened either.
Yep.
yeah.
You know,
Speaking of Robins, I'm sorry, Sal. I want to talk about some of Nightwing's redesigns.
Oh, he's had many, from the disco collar to the classic one we all know and love, which again is basically just speaking to the strength of the logo. That eagle is kick ass.
easily.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk about this. Okay. So Dick Grayson had for a while sort of a solid blue with yellow,
Mhm.
and then Scott McDaniel redesigned it to where it was just a V.
Yep.
Then we get the animated series that adds the eagle head there and the little wings, and DC Rebirth took the eagle head here. I'm going to put this out there. I like the non-eagle head version of that where it's just the V. I dislike having the bird there. I understand why you do that.
Right.
But what do you guys feel about that?
Joel, go ahead. Take it.
I'm big into theming and motifs, and I like the idea he started as a Robin and grew into a Nightwing.
Fair.
Keeping the
That's how I've
bird.
always looked at it, yeah.
I as a traditionalist, he had the V forever, but
Mm.
he was also Robin. And for my money, Bruce Timm knows how to distill a character into its perfect version.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which I think is ironic because then, of course, when he had the opportunity to redesign Huntress, he was like, just do the one just do that, just literally that,
Like do the Ghibli one.
just literally do the Jim Lee one. She's so complicated, and I'm just gonna draw that. I don't care, because I don't have anything better to go with. But with Nightwing, I could go either way. I noticed it for me. The Bruce Timm redesign with the bird, it's just a check mark with a bird in it. Like he's just a silhouette with a logo on it. Like there's nothing going for him with that, and nothing could make that more obvious than if you grab the action figure and you're just like, that's literally it's just man with blue check on chest. Like that's it. I like pretty much every version of the Nightwing costume except for the red one.
Oh yeah, well that we can agree.
I agree with that. I understand why they did it. I by the way, I have a lot of stories today.
Yeah.
So, were either of you gentlemen at WonderCon the year they did the DC Rebirth?
Front row center, my friend. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I was there too.
Yeah, I think we were like near each other.
Yeah. So I was front row as well, and I got there late because they told me they were saving me a seat, and they escorted me to the front row, and they sat me next to Diane Nelson.
Oh.
And I was wearing a Nightwing blue jacket.
Nice.
That actually was, I think I got on Etsy, so it wasn't actually legal. But anyways, so when they did the Nightwing announcement and they were like, he's back in blue, Diane Nelson, who is by the way, a lovely, amazing woman. She's so great. Started like bumping me in the elbow and go, back in blue. What do you think? He's back in blue.
Yeah. You know that the deal was like, damn it, he's back. He was there. He was like, oh, I know. I remember him at that show. He was like, I mean, like, hey, I know this will please a lot of you guys. He's back in blue.
I'm not very self-deprecating that day.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a show.
Oh, dude, DC Rebirth was I love that period of DC's time. But anyways, I understand why they go for the red. I get it because it does echo back to Robin, because Robin doesn't have blue as part of his suit.
Right.
But yeah, it just didn't quite work.
It makes him look too aggressive. It made him look evil. And didn't they put like some red stuff on the mask to him? Like he looks like an evil inverse of Nightwing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you what did you think of the circus performer, like the big Doctor Strange like head thing behind his head, like his first Nightwing costume? Where
the original
Nightwing
costume?
neckline? Yeah.
I mean, it's very George Perez.
Right?
So for the time, it works. It is too over designed.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't hate the early 90s Night Quest one where it was blue and the yellow.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I didn't hate that one. And, you know, but that's where he had the long ponytail. It looked
Yeah, of
really
course,
dumb. And
right. So many
yeah.
hairstyle changes. I forgot about the ponytail he rocked for a long time.
But
Men
I
in their
will,
20s
yeah.
have ponytails.
Of course, everyone in the 90s has ponytails and long hair. That's just how you know you're cool. It's that
That's
and leather jackets
Right. Right.
and do-rags, as we learned from Wolverine.
I'm so glad they didn't try and re-up that in the new 52. It's like, okay, now he's got a top knot.
Oh no.
They might have. Oh man.
Don't put that out in the universe, Joel. They're probably gonna have to redesign him again when he's done being Rick Grayson. They will give him a top knot just to spite you.
I feel
Oh.
like the days of Dick being dragged through the mud are behind us at this point.
I hope so. I hope
It's
so.
a feeling. Don't quote me on it, but I feel like the elephant in the room has moved on.
It feels like from Infinite Crisis to about 2015, DC's MO, and this was mainly Mr. DiDio, was
Yes.
to be like, to poke the bear about Dick Grayson, about maybe we'll kill him, maybe we'll change his costume, maybe we'll give him a kid. And I think you could see for like 10 years, it was almost like every week, like every Dick Grayson fan was like, no.
Yep. Yeah. Just on edge for 10 years, going like, what are they gonna do to him now?
Please stop, please.
Yeah.
Now he's a spy. What do you mean you still like it anyway? God damn it.
You know, somebody who has had a lot of subtle costume designs. I want to talk about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the modern Wonder Woman design is basically just a version of the movie costume.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, seeing especially Nicola Scott, who is a great artist, seeing like Nicola Scott's versions of that movie costume, I think is like the best version of her costume ever.
I think you're right, and I think that based on, I mean, like, because that was kind of the New 52, or not New 52, the Rebirth suit, where they were like, "Oh, give her the kind of Grecian,
And the battle skirt kind of thing.
yes, the battle skirt." Once they got that, they finally nailed down the Wonder Woman design.
They also let her have gold back, where before it was silver in the place of gold, which I thought was a weird lateral change.
The New 52 design is like, it's funny because you can't necessarily point to any one thing that's wrong with it, because it's basically just a Wonder Woman costume.
Yeah.
But I think, and we've gotten to this, I think we can say for superhero redesigns, it all comes down to color.
Yep.
And if you change the iconic color, you change the nature of the character, or at the very least, the public vision of that character.
I will say the first image they shared of the New 52 of Wonder Woman
with the pants,
before they got rid of the pants, I liked that version.
I also was not against it. I remember people freaking out about pants
and a jacket, didn't she?
The jacket thing I thought was hilarious, because for me, I'm like, oh my God, come on, guys. You saw the thing, or no, I'm sorry, Mr. Fantastic in a jacket that didn't stretch. Like, that was the end of the jacket on superheroes, where Mr. Fantastic's wearing a jacket and then he stretches around the jacket, and you're like, dude, you didn't make an unstable molecule jacket.
Now, we see, when I think jacket, I always think the Mike Diodato, like, his design of Wonder Woman.
Yes, the leather jacket, the black leather jacket.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring up an image because it's so bad.
It's terrible.
The funny thing about the Wonder Woman jacket is that it came about at such a point in time that it's actually in the first Injustice game as an alternate skin. Yeah.
Joel, this one right here.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, and it was blue, and yes, I remember.
Yeah, look at this. We have a double belt over the abs. Are you kidding me with this?
Yes. There's a lot going on there.
There is room for a logo, and it's right on her navel. Take a look. Now,
yep.
That suit does not work. You know what's great about that suit is it actually is preserved if you pick up your copy of Amazon from Amalgam Comics, because like I think because in that it's so funny where like it's literally just Aurora Monroe lands on Themyscira and she gets to be Wonder Woman. But Diana Prince still exists, and she also is in the book, and she has that costume or some variant thereof.
That's weird. Yeah, because that's when they made Artemis Wonder Woman for a while.
Ooh, that did not work.
No, it did not.
That was the William Mesner Loeb's run.
I feel like we've spent a lot of time on Marvel, so I'm trying to think about more DC people.
Well, I'll tell you one major design that I think really worked, and we're going old school here, and it was just like a switch over. going from Jay Garrick to Barry Allen's suit.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Redesigning the Flash, I think, was not only a stroke of genius, but also so necessary for the longevity of Flash. Like, it allowed for people to, I think it allowed for people to like Jay Garrick, because they went like, oh, I like Jay Garrick. He's fun. He's over there. And he can look like that, because I have another Flash that looks like a superhero.
Talk about costumes that were instantly iconic and have been with us so long, we don't even really think of them as redesigns anymore, even though they technically are.
For
I
me,
mean, another one that's on that is, I would say, the Neil Adams Green Arrow redesign.
Yeah,
totally.
Yep, where he made him look more like Robin Hood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although, you know, it's funny. I can never not think about this moment, because Green Arrow with the hood, that's kind of like the Mike Grell, Neil Adams kind of run. I was thinking about that scene in All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder, an incredible series. You haven't checked it out, by Frank Miller and Jim Lee.
Yep, amazing. Please read it.
It's so great, and if you love Batman, I promise you, this is going to be a book you're going to remember forever.
Even though you'll try and forget.
But there's a scene where where Frank Miller's Dick Grayson Robin decides to become the Hood, and his suit is basically Damian's costume.
Yeah.
And Batman says, "Do you know what the first criminal would think to do with a hood like that?" And just pulls it over his face. And I'm like, oh my God, you just destroyed every hooded character I've ever seen. I can never not think of that. Like, when you're thinking of an archer who needs peripheral vision, getting a hood in there, it just makes it I love it. For me, though, Green Arrow is hat.
The little hat.
You gotta give him a hat.
And
I
it's weird because I used to be that way now, and I think Arrow has taken me back to the hood, even though I know practicality, which I think it's so funny that Frank Miller did that moment for Robin in that story, because in DC Rebirth, they gave Damian a hood.
They did. He looks exactly like that.
Yeah, he does.
And it's like, he's like, yeah.
Speaking of Green Arrow, all the credit in the world to Sorrentino on that new 52 Green Arrow run, where they're like, okay, so this character is having a total identity crisis right now. Figure something out. And he's like, okay, I'll split the difference from Robin Hood, but he's not going to have the hat. He's going to have the hood. And he's also kind of going to look like a hobo too, because he put this together because he's on the run. And like, okay, there, look, but he's still undeniably Green Arrow. Yeah.
Ooh, actually, quick shout out to the trash Green Arrow from the Kevin Smith Quiver run.
Yeah,
with the big beard and everything.
The big beard. That almost works.
Almost.
Did he have like a gallon of milk on the end of his arrow?
Yeah, he did.
I love Arrow. That almost works as a look, like that you could carry over if Green Arrow were homeless. You kept that run. But yeah, as far as DC characters go, like, pretty much the next iteration is the best. Like, Flash, next one is the best. Green Arrow, next one's the best. Green Lantern, next one's the best.
Yes, but I will say, so this is one of I would argue what I think is one of the best superhero redesigns, because it's so simple.
One of the most modern.
Yes, it's when they got rid of Hal Jordan's underwear in his for Green Lantern Rebirth, and they just made it the triangle belt.
Yep.
It's so simple. It's the same costume, but it infinitely looks more modern.
Yes. No, I completely agree. I'm a sucker for that Green Lantern suit. I am not the world's biggest Green Lantern fan, but I love it, and I don't know why. I think it's just it's simple, it's streamlined. The color combination, like, if you get rid of those white gloves, you've lost me. I love the white glove look. I love the Green Lantern suit. I grew up during the Kyle Rayner suit run. I loved it as a kid, but also it wasn't enough to get me to buy it. And when I actually went back and picked up all the issues from Emerald Twilight that introduced him, I prefer Kyle in the Hal Jordan suit.
Right, instead of the big beefier.
Interesting. Sitting on my desk, I have this.
Oh my God!
And actually, like, over my desk, I have a poster that I bought from a comic book shop that is a promotional poster for Green Lantern 51, and it's like I'm just reading it right now. It says, "A new era begins here." I just love the Kyle Rayner suit. Although I admit that the crab shell mask is crazy, but his look and the update to the logo, like, I mean, just like it blew my mind away. I thought it looked so modern compared to the Hal Jordan.
Oh, it completely does. No, it's a genuine modern take. It works it works for what it's trying to do, and I don't think it's timeless like the Green Lantern like the Hal Jordan suit is, but I
I
think
agree with that.
but it becomes its own thing, and it's so amazingly unique. No other Lantern has ever worn it since.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've never
I mean,
tried to like put a woman in it or anything. Like they just went,
the
it's
Daryl
Kyle's.
the Daryl Banks redesign, I think it was so good simply because of this simple factor. Before Kyle Rayner, every Green Lantern symbol had the rectangle on top of a circle, rectangle. Kyle was the one that made the diagonals. And then if you notice, post Green Lantern Rebirth, when Hal came back, he had the diagonal Green Lantern symbol.
Yes.
Huh.
And so that all comes from Kyle.
And I would like that for Kyle too, because Kyle is like an artist and everything. So it would make sense that he would have like some more stuff going on.
Yeah. What's funny about that is I remember reading an article, we won't say where because we know where it's from, in which Ron Mars admits that he would have preferred to leave Kyle in the original Green Lantern suit.
Interesting.
And that he was kind of against the redesign. I'm sure he's thankful that he did go with the redesign because I think that the change in Lanterns and suit made that book continue to exist for as long as it did.
Agreed.
Because it created an iconic look. It's the same thing we were talking about earlier with the Scarlet Spider look or Superman Blue. It's like that's part of the reason why we remember Kyle or why we put him back into that suit now.
Yeah. I should mention before we do, because I use this as a thumbnail, I just want to make sure we get it in there. Carol Danvers has gone through a bazillion redesigns.
I was going to go there from Binary and Warbird and everything.
Binary, Warbird, Ms. Marvel, all the way to Captain Marvel. I remember
her new evil suit now.
Her new evil suit's pretty dope, but I don't want to use it. It's an evil suit.
Yeah.
But I really like it.
Agreed.
And I remember when they debuted Captain Marvel during Dark Reign, before Carol Danvers became Captain Marvel, they had another Captain Marvel. I think it was Songbird.
Yes.
Was it Songbird?
Or Moonstone. It was Moonstone.
Moonstone, yes.
Oh, yes, because she was part of the Dark Avengers, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
But they made her Captain Marvel, and they put her in like a Captain Marvel suit, but with no pants.
There you go.
So it's a little sexier. But with the Carol suit, they gave her like a proper, straight-up superhero redesigned suit that I think really works.
It really does. Great color palette they use for. Sometimes she has a mohawk, sometimes she has a helmet to accompany the costume too. So there's even like variants within the costume itself.
And it looks great in live action. It looks great in the movie. It looks really good.
Yeah. We are about to raffle off our $30 Comixology gift card in a minute, but I just wanted to mention that in a second. But
get your donations in now.
Get your donations in, not being using the super chats in our stream, but rather using the pinned comment or in the chat right now. Mods are giving you a link to help out. They're close to 7,000 for their raffle, so check it out.
All right.
The only thing I could improve, by the way, really quick about that Captain Marvel suit, I always liked the scarf.
Did you know?
I like the scarf, and I kind of wish they bring it back.
Few heroes can pull off a scarf, just like few heroes can pull off goggles.
No, the only hero that can pull off a scarf is Doctor Who, guys. Come on.
There's another DC character, another femme fatale that I think she's gone through 1,000 costume changes, and they kind of tried to dial it back and go back to it recently, but never really nailed it. Darwin Cook's Catwoman suit.
Oh, I love the Darwin Cook suit with the whip as the belt. I think the big goggles.
The goggles.
Yeah.
The goggles. You still keep the cat suit, but for some reason it's a little less, I don't know, objectifying, like the Jim Valent.
Sleazy.
Like the purple suit with where like it's basically just body paint with gloves and boots on.
Yes. And I think the one that she's in now, it's kind of an unnecessary reboot because the change they made is they just took out her shoulders, which is
like all lateral moves.
It's worse. They cut out the armpits. Like
the armpits are cut out?
The armpits are cut out.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? Why? Because like it's a leather suit and the sweat will trap. Like, what's going on here? Like,
that's the one thing. And this is definitely, we got to talk about redesigns. And it's just sad that we don't have a woman's perspective here because I find, and we know as comic readers, that a lot of the redesigns on female costumes are just completely impractical. The one that stands out the most to me is that there was a redesign on Catherine Bishop's Hawkeye.
Oh.
And it was one of the first times. It was after the Matt Fraction run. I think it was the Jeff Lemire run when they teamed her up with Hawkeye. They gave her they gave her a costume where she had, like, instead of shoulder holes, she had hip holes, but they also had her wear a belt. So she wore a belt over her bare hips.
Yes, I remember this.
And to me, I was like, if she's like running across rooftops and punching Hydra in the face, she's going to chafe so bad.
Completely.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, it doesn't work. I do love Kate Bishop's suit. And I've loved pretty much all of them. I liked her I liked a lot of the Young Avengers. With the notable exception, I was not a big fan of Patriot.
Yeah,
really.
I love Patriot as a character, but the full head mask, I don't know, it doesn't work for me.
Did you like it better when they just gave him the Domino mask?
The Domino mask, I think, works much better because it's kind of like a Bucky suit. Because for me, like Bishop or not, I was thinking Kate Bishop. Patriot in that head sock looks
Eli.
Eli. He looks too much like, I don't know, Die Hard from Youngblood or Captain Universe or Prototype from the Ultraverse. Like, it just doesn't work.
Do we consider Sam Wilson's time as Captain America? Is that a redesign? Because he kept the wings.
And the goggles, kind of. I love that suit. I hope we see it. I think it's a perfect 1-to-1. It goes in movies. It'll work perfectly.
Yes, I do too. I'll tell you another great Captain America design. I love the Buffy redesign Bucky redesign. Hey guys, do you remember when Buffy was redesigned as Captain America?
I would pay for that.
That was an odd time in history.
Yeah.
No, when Bucky's Alex Ross redesign, I think looks awesome.
I think it's cool. I like it as Bucky's suit. I would not want to see Steve wear it.
Heck, I'll even say Agent Steve with just the blue and the white. I quite enjoy.
Yes. Super Soldier Steve.
Yeah. As a kid, I kind of loved the U.S. Agent suit where it's just Cap but black.
Yeah, it's
like
easy, but
it's very simple.
There's a crazy one I want to talk about.
All right,
Aquaman.
Okay.
Now Aquaman has we started classic orange and greens and we kept that for a long time until we got Peter David with a harpoon hand and yellow hand that you can tell is definitely influence for Jason Momoa. And then they retconned that all away, put him back into the orange and the green. And then they put him back into Jason Momoa, and now he's shirtless, but he has the green pants, but he had long hair.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating because Jason Momoa's Aquaman looks a lot like the Peter David but just with no hook hand, which I think is a great idea. I always liked Aquaman with a big beard and long hair.
Yeah.
He's like Conan. He's underwater Conan.
Yeah, underwater Conan's a cool idea. I don't know if they've ever really gone that direction. I think they just went with the visual. I don't know. For me, Aquaman has never hit that costume that makes me think iconic. It's more like his costume. The original costume is the one because of, I think, Super Friends. Because that was the cultural consciousness of who Aquaman is.
Seared into people's minds.
Shout out to his Ocean Aquaman suit, the blue one. Anybody remember the blue?
Yes.
Where it's blue. He because it's supposed to be camouflage. He looks like the water. Like, no,
that suit, by the way, is not a terrible design. I will just say that.
No, it isn't.
It just doesn't work.
But it doesn't work.
Lads is what
or it should have been a villain's outfit or something.
Yes, Ocean Master could have inherited that costume easily.
Is that before or after the water hand? Because he had the hook hand, then he had a hand that was made of water.
The water suit was like 88, 89.
Oh, like, you guys also remember when he wore the seashell crown for a while?
Yes,
I do remember that. How awful.
I'll be honest with you, I love the Peter David harpoon hand just because I love that idea that he is this warrior. And I just think, I mean, in his weird like metal 90s
that shoulder thing?
Yeah. I mean, I love the harpoon hand because but I do think there's some way to take that harpoon hand design and meld it with the orange and make it work.
Well, they made it gold and it became like a kind of like grappling hook thing. I don't know. I must transition, unfortunately, but fortunately for one person, to the winner of our $30 Comixology gift card in this show. Congratulations to Jordan Lurie. Jordan Lurie or Lurie. You won the $30 Comixology gift card. Thank you so much for your donation and for getting us up to and perhaps past 7,000, we do appreciate it, and we're going to have people reach out to you and get you your $30 gift card. So
Congrats, Jordan.
Yeah.
We have only 5 minutes left of the show, so I think we should do some honorable mentions / like lightning round it. Drop
Sounds
a few
good.
other characters before. Jason, did you get to talk about your bombshell yet?
Oh, that was Hal Jordan.
I had a feeling, so I'm glad we got
Hal Jordan. Yeah, because it was very simple. But I'll tell you what, I'll put a lightning round in there. Who doesn't love Iron Man Heroes Reborn because he has exhaust pipes?
I mean, just Iron Man in general, because like redesigning his costume is baked into his character, and the fact that Stanley never liked it, so we have a million Iron Man. And you can
favorite Iron Man.
I just want to show this to the audience right here.
No, you have it.
Oh my god!
Yeah. You know he has a lot of power if he has exhaust pipes.
Yeah, he's like the DeLorean in Back to the Future.
My god.
Who's your favorite Iron Man design? Favorite
Centurion.
Same here.
Yeah. Mine is the Hero's Return. It was designed by Alex Ross, where it's like he has the pointy things. It's hard. It was the armor that became sentient.
Oh no!
Yeah,
and he loved him so much.
Yes, the mask in the Iron Man suit. Good call.
Heartbreaker is close second too. That's also a pretty good one.
Yeah, I love the suit from Civil War. The one that we get that basically they went, oh, we're just gonna do that in the movie. Like
my close second would be the first War Machine, the classic War Machine.
That's pretty tight.
Totally. Yeah. Really quick, I just wanted to mention there have been a number of Batgirl redesigns. I don't know. I don't really even think it's really a Batgirl design, but I'm a sucker for that Cassie Kane stitched mouth, kind of like homage to Catwoman suit. I always loved that
solid
suit.
Black.
Yeah,
that's a great suit. It's a great
such
suit.
a good looking suit. It's basically just Batman's costume that she made for a girl. Like I think it's just cool.
Yeah. For me, it's Batgirl Burnside. Like that costume is just so great, and the fact that you can actually like just apply it in the real world, I think is genius.
It's in the Harley show now.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? That's great.
Yes, it is.
That's her in that universe. That's the canon first appearance of Batgirl. Is the Burnside suit,
which makes a lot of sense. Ooh, Moon Knight in a suit. Moon Knight in just a slick suit. Very simple and also easy to cosplay.
Yeah, I love. Oh yeah, the Mr. Knight suit.
Yeah.
For me, I love Moon Knight from the David Finch run. No gold. I know that a lot of people like the gold in there. No gold for me. I think gold only works on Wonder Woman and Booster Gold. That's it.
Can I want to bring up a quick question to the entire panel just because I love the Fantastic Four so much.
Yes.
Favorite FF costumes?
Oh man.
John Byrne.
Future Foundation,
so white and blue. Ooh,
yeah, white
Future Foundation.
For me, good. White, blue, and black. Like the black around it. Like basically the suits they used in the second to third the second season of the cartoon show.
I really love the modern ones that they're using right now, where they've inverted. It's black and blue. I really dig that. It's the exact same suit as the Kirby suit, but you just inverted the colors.
Yeah, I like that too. The Future Foundation suits are great. Also, quick shout out to that Spider-Man suit because that was also amazing.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
I love playing with that one in the game as well.
I'm trying to think if there are any other superheroes that change their costumes so.
Here's one.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Oh, Hawkeye, big time.
I'd say he has more bad ones than good ones.
I'd say he threw his costume away. It's literally just a shirt with a logo on it and shades.
That's all it is now. He literally pared it down to almost nothing.
I have to go classic George Perez with Hawkeye. You have to. For me, it's to go back to the original.
Yeah, I don't think it translates to movies, but it's one of my favorites, Hawkeye versions.
No. Does Ronin count as a redesign for Hawkeye? Yeah,
no, because it was Echo.
That's right. Yeah, until it wasn't.
Yeah, Ronin is Ronin. I will toss out another one. Batwoman. When Batwoman came back from 52, that suit is cool, and I didn't even care that they just took the Batman Beyond suit.
Oh yeah,
Batman Beyond. So well. Batman
Beyond could be considered in this because that's such a great, amazing, simplified redesign of Batman.
And Bruce Wayne.
Yes, Batman Beyond is essentially the black costume Spider-Man of the Batman pantheon, where they went just silhouette, logo. To the eyes and the belt and the cape. Well, cape wings thing. Really quick shout out also for Spider-Man. I forgot about Spider-Man 2099.
I
Ah,
love that design.
Me too. And you know what's funny? It breaks every rule I have where it's like
Sure
it's
does.
super just it's over designed. It's got a lot of complications. It doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Like, why would he have that? He wore it for the Dia
And it's a
de los
90s
Muertos suit.
skull design, which is just like,
Sure
what?
is.
Yeah.
Like, so not Spider-Man, and yet so distinct. And yet, when you do something else, it doesn't work. It works at every conceivable level. The weird like webbing thing he has on the back, like everything about it works. And it's
Thanks
just,
to Rick Leonardi for that one.
yeah, thank you, Rick Leonardi.
Yeah.
We are so lucky to have you, man. Another quick shout out, just a big change. Daredevil. Thank God he dropped the yellow.
Yeah.
And thank God he dropped that terrible 90s black with red suit.
Oh,
the armor. Remember that?
Woo!
Oh, so bad.
That was rough. We have to wrap up. I'm sorry. We could talk for another hour, but we have to end here. We want to thank you all so much. And please check out At Home Comic Con. There are so much more going on. We are at the halfway mark. We're not done yet. I think we're going to hit that 10,000. But please, if you want to, please support them over there. Click the links to find them in the description and in the chat. And we will see you all more. Before we go, Cape Joel, definitely go subscribe to Cape Joel.
Thank you.
Jason Inman, where can they find you, and what should they
Oh,
do
everywhere
when
on
they
the
find you?
internet at Jawin, Jawin. And don't forget, I have a podcast called Geek History Lesson, and you can find this on eBay.
All right,
But don't buy that. Donate.
No, please, yes. Yeah, you can find that at any convention in a dollar bin. Go find it that way.
Yes, you can.
Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. That's it for us here. So long.